I've always wondered why Superman Returns exists. Not in a mean way, it's not an unwatchable film, it's completely directed, it looks good, and John Ottman's score is genuinely beautiful. But it's also completely fundamentally redundant. It's a spiritual sequel to a film series that ended in 1987. It came out in 2006, 19 years later, in the middle of one of the most exciting eras in superhero cinema history, and instead of doing something new, it looked backwards. That's the kindest way I can put it. Superman Returns was a film obsessed with the past at a moment when the genre was sprinting towards the future. And I've been thinking about this for a long time because Superman is one of the greatest characters in fiction. The mythology is rich, the emotional potential is enormous, and the cinematic history reads the film. The animated series, Smallville, is genuinely remarkable. Superman deserved better than a nostalgic tribute act. So today, I'm gonna tell you what I would have done instead. This is Superman Man of Tomorrow, the film I would have made in 2006, and the beginning of what could have been one of the most exciting superhero franchises ever built. To understand why this film needed to exist, you need to understand what was happening in the superhero cinema at the time. Bryan Singer had just come off of X2, X-Men United, arguably the best comic book film made up to that point. Sam Raimi was deep into his Spider-Man trilogy, bringing genuine heart and emotional sincerity to the genre. And in 2005, Christopher Nolan had just released Batman Begins, a film that fundamentally changed what people believed a superhero movie could be. Grounded, psychological, treating the source material like literature rather than spectacle. Each one of these films refined their characters for a modern audience. They weren't holding on to the past, they were reinterpreting it for a new generation. And then Superman Returns arrives, trying to emulate the tone and aesthetic of Donner's 1978 film, a film that for all its brilliance belonged to a completely different era of cinema. In 2006, asking audiences to accept a spiritual sequel to a 1986 film with no connection to anything else happening in superhero cinema was asking too much. There was another reason to start fresh. Christopher Reeves passed away in 2004. His Superman was complete, a legendary run, preserved in time. There was no need to continue it or build from it. The most respectful thing you could do for that legacy was to let it stand on its own and begin something new. So here's what I would have done instead. Firstly, no origin story. This is important. In 2006, Smallville was already on television telling Clark Kent's origin with Tom Welling, and it's doing it well. There is no reason to spend the first act of a big screen Superman film covering ground that audiences either already know or are already watching weekly on TV. Instead, we drop into a world where Superman already exists. He's been Superman for 3 years, he's established, he's beloved, he's a legend, for better or for worse. And now we tell a story about what comes next. The film is called Superman Man of Tomorrow, not just as a title, as a mission statement. This is Superman of the future, a new era, a clean slate that respects everything that came before it without being enslaved to it. The tone sits somewhere between Batman Begins and Superman the Animated Series, grounded and emotionally real, but never so dark that it loses essential optimism of the character. Because here's the thing about Superman that Man of Steel got wrong. Superman should never be a burden. He should be an aspiration. Gritty and hopeless is not Superman. Hopeful and human is Superman. The director, Brad Bird, fresh off of The Invincibles, a film that understood superhero mythology better than most actual superhero films. He gets scale, he gets heart, he gets why these stories matter to people. The film opens in space, not the Kryptonian destruction sequence we've seen before, just Earth, from orbit, beautiful and quiet. And then Superman streaking across the metropolis skyline, saving a falling monorail from collapse. The crowd cheers, he's gone before anyone can thank him. That distance is the first thing we establish. Superman is beloved but remote, a myth as much as a man. Clark Kent is 6 years into his career at the Daily Planet. Confident, warm, quietly funny. His relationship with Lois Lane is something in between. Close, charged, unresolved. She's brilliant and relentless. She's starting to suspect something about Clark that she can't quite name yet. Lex Luthor exists in this film not as a cackling, real estate villain, but as something far more dangerous. A genuine, compelling antagonist. He's one of the most powerful men in the world. A humanitarian publicly. A genius who has built his entire brand around one idea. Humanity should rely on itself. He doesn't hate Superman out of jealousy. He hates him out of ideology. An alien being, no matter how benevolent, deciding what's best for the human race is, in Lex's view, the greatest threat civilization has ever faced. And then something changes. Satellites begin falling, power grids flicker. Something is disrupting Earth's orbit from deep space. Something is approaching. The something is Brainiac. It's genuinely baffling that Brainiac has never appeared in a live-action Superman film. He was considered for Superman 3, he appeared in the animated series in Smallville, he's one of the greatest villains in DC Comics, and yet somehow we got 3 Lex Luthor films and 0 Brainiac films. In Man of Tomorrow, Brainiac is the central antagonist, and he's unlike anything Superman has faced before. He's not power for power's sake, he's methodical, almost scientific. He sees Earth as a civilization worth cataloging, worth archiving and controlling, the same way he once did with Krypton. He has tracked Superman, the last Kryptonian, to Earth, and now he's come to collect. Superman's first contribution with Brainiac's probes devastates part of Metropolis, and here's where the film does something interesting. The public starts to turn. If Superman had never come to Earth, Brainiac would have never followed. The question the media starts asking is uncomfortable. Is Superman the reason humanity is in danger? Lex capitalizes on this immediately. He opens a back channel negotiations with Brainiac, positioning himself as Earth's representative, secretly hoping to reverse engineer the alien technology for LexCorp. He believes he's the smartest man in the room. Meanwhile, Clark begins to fall apart quietly. He's not aging the way people around him are. He's not from the here. He can hear 1,000 voices at once and save one person at a time. Martha Kent, sitting across from her son at the kitchen table, says the most important thing anyone says in the entire film. Just because you can hear the whole world doesn't mean you have to carry it alone. And then, inside Brainiac's data vault, Superman manages to infiltrate. He finds something that stops him completely. A Kryptonian stasis pod. Inside, Kara Zor-El, his cousin, his last living blood relative, asleep, alive. He can't save her yet, but he knows she's there, and suddenly he has something to fight for beyond duty. The climax of this film goes somewhere no Superman film had gone before, into space. Brainiac has merged with LexCorp's orbital satellite facility and turned it into an alien warship positioned above Earth. Lex, finally realizing he's been used as a tool rather than as a partner, tries to shut Brainiac down from the inside. Too late, he nearly dies. Superman fights his way through the satellite, weakened by red sun radiation that Brainiac weaponizes against him, and it is brutal. This is not clean, elegant flying out of the Reeve films. This is a man fighting through exhaustion and pain because there is no one else. And then the final confrontation. Brainiac versus Superman, face to face. Brainiac cannot be beaten by strength alone. He can calculate every physical outcome. He can anticipate every move. What he cannot anticipate, what his entire architecture of pure logic cannot comprehend, is emotion. Memory, grief, love. Superman overwhelms Brainiac's systems, not with a punch, but with memory, every moment of his life on Earth. Martha's voice. Lois is laughing. The smell of the Kent farm in the summer. Krypton's destruction flooding back as inherited memory from Jor-El's recordings. The weight of being the last of something. Brainiac, built to archive and categorize all things, encounters something he cannot categorize, and then he collapses. Earth is saved, but Superman is changed. He floats back down through the atmosphere, alone, bruised, and for the first time in years, at peace. Metropolis rebuilds. The public debate about Superman doesn't really disappear, it shifts. He isn't universally loved, he's not universally feared, he's somewhere more complicated and more real than either. He's a person who chose to be here. Lois publishes her article. The headline, The Man of Tomorrow. The name sticks. Clark visits the Fortress of Solitude and stands in front of Kara's pod. Camera lingers, a silent promise. And in the post-credit scene, somewhere in deep space, a Green Lantern ring detects an unprecedented act of willpower on a small blue planet. It begins scanning for a worthy bearer. The universe just got bigger. And here's what Man of Tomorrow would have been in the context of 2006. It would have been the fourth pillar of that golden era of superhero cinema, alongside Raimi's Spider-Man, Singer's X-Men, and Nolan's Batman. A Superman film finally treated the character with the same ambition and emotional intelligence those films brought to their hero. It would have proven that Superman doesn't need to be dark to be serious. That hope is not a weakness. That a character who genuinely wants to do good is not boring. He's the most interesting character of all. And it would have laid the foundation for something bigger. A sequel introducing Supergirl, a third film bringing in a new Batman, Ben Affleck in a seasoned, world-weary way to set up a shared DC universe built on the same emotional foundations this film established. Done right, this could have been the DC answer to what Marvel was about to build starting in 2008. Instead, we got Superman Returns, and we spent the next 17 years trying to figure out who Superman was supposed to be. Man of Tomorrow knew exactly who he was. This is the first video in what I'm planning as a series on Nightwake, reimagining films and franchises that didn't live up to their potential, or never got made at all. So if that sounds like your kind of content, well, you know what to do. Thanks for watching.